Wait, remember Generator Rex? It was Cartoon Network's action-packed series about teenage amnesiac Rex Salazar, along with his over-the-top awesome Evo powers that allow him to generate nearly any biomechanical construct for any occasion. In 2010, Cartoon Network breathed new air into what originally was an obscure comic book series titled M-Rex, which was created by Joe Kelly and Duncan Rolu, who'd go on to become two of the four founding members of Man of Action Entertainment, the geniuses behind... Yeah, but believe it or not, the spark behind Generator Rex, M-Rex, came before the likes of Ben 10. Today, let's take a look into Generator Rex and see how this pumped up to the max action cartoon fared against the major tonal shift Cartoon Network was starting to take.
You're one of those glass half full guys, aren't you?
So how's that new wallet of yours? Oh, you mean my Exter TM wallet? It's been great. Who are you looking at? The live studio audience. You know, this is pre-recorded, right? Nope. But what I do know is I have a nice wallet. What? Well, can I get one too? Of course. I just picked this one up on sale for you. Oh, thank you. Don't thank me. Thank today's sponsor, Exter. Seriously, who are you looking at? Exter, the world's largest smart wallet brand. Efficiency, security, and style are Exter's mission statement, and that's what you get. So I've been rocking the Parliament wallet from Exter for over a month now in an effort to have a more comfortable experience that is also convenient. I mean, watch this. Boom! Access to all my cards without having to dig them out of the holders from my previous wallet. It's quick, and the aluminum internal casing protects them against skimming, which plagues so many people per year, so the RFID protection is a pretty nice safety to have. Using this wallet for my everyday use has genuinely been a breeze, and honestly, I don't think I'll need to ever worry about purchasing another wallet ever again. For more security, there's a nice slot for the sleek tracker card which can be tracked worldwide if you can't find your wallet. You hit this button on your phone and... oh. There it is. Silly me. It's solar powered and can last up to 3 months on a single sunny charge. The wallet is also made with premium environmentally friendly leather, and it fits nicely in the pocket that sometimes I forget it's even there. Whew, it's there. But if it weren't, I'd still be able to find it thanks to the tracker. To step up your wallet game, click the link below. Father's Day is right around the corner, so think about treating your dad to something nice and something they will be really thankful for with 20% off all orders site-wide and 30% off orders over $150. There's even a special Father's Day bundle that comes with a metal clip case, a sleek metal tool card, and your choice between the aluminum card holder or Parliament wallet, all inside of a premium gift bag. Thanks so much to Exter for sponsoring today's video. Noted. April 23rd, 2010, the day that Generator Rex would premiere on Cartoon Network. This was an interesting time for the network, the verge of cleaning out the old and moving forward with the new. But let's not jump ahead and discuss that yet, just keep that in mind for later. The show follows Rex, a
exponentially variegated organism,
or Evo for short. Most Evos mutated into more monster-looking creatures thanks to a major explosion that expelled high amounts of nanites into the atmosphere, attaching themselves to almost every living thing on Earth. For Rex, while affected by the nanites, he never was cursed with his look and biological makeup being altered into something resembling the other monsters, putting him into a small selection of people affected that are in full control of their Evo abilities, that are now granted to them with no initial repercussions. Oh, yeah, the abilities part. So, while some do things like this, or this, and even that, Rex has something pretty special, allowing him to, at a whim, shift around parts of his body into biomechanical weapons for combat, defense, and more. Even a sick bike. On top of this, he can also deactivate the nanites inside of others and save them from their curse, whether they are thankful or not for that. Working for Providence, a military-esque organization created in direct response to the nanites that will either stop and capture hostile Evos or flat out just take them out. But once they found Rex and the powers that he has, their ways started to change, as if there was a way to cure these evil Evos, then that's what they should try to do first and foremost. Voiced by Darryl Sabara, yeah, Junie from Spy Kids, Rex is your typical front and center action lead. He's charismatic, takes things into his own hands, and still has all the charm to make him a likable lead. His past causing him to lose his memories stems from the explosion that took the lives of his parents after his life was saved thanks to the nanites getting injected into him after an incident which left him in a pretty critical condition. Oh, and before he was even a part of Providence, he was fully transformed at one point into this Iron Giant-esque form, going on a rampage in Mexico before being defeated, turning back into his human form and forgetting all about what happened. Through all of this, he uses his abilities to cure Evos and gets a job with Providence, insurance benefits, 401k, and his own office. But for real, he basically now aids on missions to cure as many Evos as he can, and oh so much more, as this show does have quite the extensive story to explore. I didn't mean that to rhyme, I'm so sorry. Overall, the show's premise is pretty dark and carries with it a narrative featuring more gravitas in its presentation. There are of course lighter, even campier moments, but with consequences of fights, body horror thanks to the nanites and more, it's definitely skewed one way more so than the other. Or even in the first episode, the brutal way in which Van Cleis is defeated, for now. He is the main antagonist throughout the entire show, voiced by Troy Baker. He uses propaganda to make it seem like he truly cares about Evos, but truthfully, he doesn't. He's just a big ol' manipulator to try and further his own wants and plans. And just a side note in general, this show boasts a really strong voice cast. John DiMaggio as Bobo, Grey DeLisle as Rebecca Holiday, Wally Kurth as Agent 6, J.K. Simmons as White Knight, aka the Tier 3 sub. Even Fred Savage is here as Noah Nixon. They all also voice a mix of other characters in the show as well. But based on those characters' names I just mentioned, Rex works directly under Agent 6. They have a buddy cop vibe, but he is more of his handler than anything else. And he's clearly modeled after the Matrix. Bobo Haha is the sidekick chimp who really doesn't do as much as he would probably claim he's doing. Originally a captured Evo given a fresh start to work with Providence and over time has an extremely close relationship with Rex, while he is looked at as a bad influence for Rex, he still enjoys his duties of fighting some Evos. Rebecca Holiday is the chief research officer at Providence. She cares for Rex and is able to fix him up and help ensure his safety. One, because it's her job to do so, but also she sees him as more than just a weapon for Providence. Agent 6 has that fitting name as he is the sixth most dangerous man on the planet. He also lost 6 years worth of memories thanks to an accident with a memory machine. There's also a storyline in the show dealing with a 6-month gap in time. That's a lot of sixes. What is this, Toronto? Anyway, he's a by-the-books, no-nonsense type, but he does have a soft spot for Rex over time, and maybe even a softer spot towards Rebecca, and also 5. Oh yeah, I can see why. She's the 5th most dangerous person in the world. They were so smart naming them that. Noah Nixon, a friend to Rex to keep him on the straight and narrow, because we find out literally early on in season 1 that White Knight, the leader of Providence, planted him there and their friendship wasn't as natural like it may have seemed to Rex. Would have been cool to reveal something like that way later on in the series, but sure, whatever. They become actual friends as the series goes on. Or is it all a big con job? Cersei is an interesting character as well, serving as the initial love interest for Rex, but due to her not feeling like she belongs integrated with everyone in everyday society, she is loyal to the Pack, a group of Evos working directly for Van Cleis. Also probably because she can do, oh my god, what in the world? And that's all the really important character, well, Rex does have a brother. He was just as surprised, trust me. Caesar Salazar. He's older, wiser, and had been in space for 5 years. Well, thanks to time dilation, it was only 15 minutes for him. Overprotective and loyal to a fault to Rex, we see his character struggle with his scientific, strong-willed, and fearless side, clash with choices bigger than him to save his life or his brother's. Family over everything. Vin Diesel is proud. Remember what I brought up earlier about this being an interesting time for Cartoon Network and being on the verge of an important time as the network was reshifting around their future plans? Let's take a look at just how the show came to be and the real challenges ahead it had to face.
Guess it's back to quadratic equations.
I'm Rex. Trust me, you've never seen a guy like me before.
Generator Rex, a brand new series on Cartoon Network.
Man of Action. That's the entertainment collective responsible for bringing this show to life, with Ben 10 being their first major animation production back in 2005. But for Generator Rex, even though it came out in 2010, it still preceded Ben 10, technically. You see, there are 4 founders of Man of Action, 2 of them being Joe Kelly and Duncan Rulu, who were creating comics under Avalon Comics, a subsidiary of Image Comics Publishing. Joe would be the creator and Duncan would be the cover artists for the comics. Aaron Saad, Alp Altner, and Curtis Arnold also worked on the comic by inking it. In 1999, the comic M. Rex was released and ran for 2 issues. And just looking at the images on screen, I am sure you can already see where this is going. This comic became the blueprint for what Generator Rex would become, from the ideas and the look of the characters a bit. Rex, Agent 6, White Knight, and Bobo Haha, just known here as the Haha, were all introduced within the comic with the same names, along with a small handful of characters that never transitioned from the comics to the show. But it's the story that's a bit different. Rather than nanites transforming the genetic makeup of humans into creatures, it's more about organisms gaining a collective consciousness, forming a new species fighting for dominance. While some of that translates into the show with the Evos and how some of them view their place in this world, it still has a separate vision in mind. But what does remain is the group known as Providence. Fast forward to the year 2000. Joe and Duncan, along with Steven Seagal and Joe Casey, would form Man of Action Entertainment. They would work on anything from shows to films to comic books to video games and, of course, animation. One most notable comic was when they were working with Marvel and created Big Hero 6, which today spawned the hit movie and, of course, the animated series, but their first real big break came from Ben 10 and the success that followed, with Ben 10 technically still running to this day with its newest adaptation. But come on, from the original series to Alien Force to Ultimate Alien to the live action stuff, you name it, Ben 10 was bringing in all the attention. But after the first 5 years of success with Ben 10, Man of Action wanted to focus on something else as well. Because of what Ben 10 had done for Cartoon Network, pitching another action-based cartoon should be pretty easy, especially with its potential to do anything similar to what Ben 10 has been doing. So their obvious choice was adapting part of M. Rex, changing up some character designs and the story overall for something that can build into a larger narrative. While they wanted to bring the same vibe of Ben 10 to the show, they also wanted to make it a bit more mature in ways of a complex story that kept you watching and made you invested with something to take home and think about after watching. They did just that. The show premiered to great enough viewership and support for the series. It even won a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Individual in Animation given to Chu Hoi Song and Nora Murphy Breeden for their background art, specifically for the first episode. But after 3 seasons, with the final 2-part episodes premiering on January 2nd and January 3rd, 2013, the show was ultimately canceled by the network. And yeah, it's partially for the reasons you think. The extra moneymakers surrounding the franchise not making so much money. We will get into all the extra stuff later on in the video, but essentially, toy sales are what killed this franchise like so many other great shows. Again, partially, with a question mark at the end. But also, as we go on to talk about as well, it did have a proper ending, kind of. It finished the majority of what the main story was leading up to while leaving some major things open-ended that could have seen a continuation. So whether it was a real cancellation or the show just ended, the extra merchandise surrounding the show wasn't doing what the network needed it to do. Some also chalk it up to the ratings getting lower during the 2nd season, but even still, there are a bunch of different variations that contributed to the show ending. I mean, Ben 10 merchandise has made somewhere over $6 billion. So yeah, kinda hard to live up to that. Also, scheduling conflicts hurt the series as well. It was taken off lineups and shuffled around a lot. Even having episodes 56 through 60 for some reason released onto iTunes to purchase before they even aired on TV. Suffice to say, it got a little messy, and I am sure ratings specifically played into that part of the release schedule. Another thing to note was the changing of the old guard to the new, as newer, what we see now as modern Cartoon Network, styles of cartoons came to be, with stuff like Adventure Time and regular shows starting this new wave for the network. Heck, you can even throw Chowder on that list too. It's part of the reason the newest iteration of Ben 10 looks like this, and less like this. It's the reason we no longer have this Teen Titans, and now have this Teen Titans. Now, this isn't a concrete 100% reason, but it was smack dab in the middle of Cartoon Network heading in a slightly different direction. The show overall was a surprisingly great time. The adventure we follow Rex and the crew on for these 3 seasons is full of new twists and turns that shake up the formula, with each season feeling different yet familiar. Season 1 is a very clean introduction to the series, finding a nice footing for who these characters are, how they play into the story, and just how freaking cool they are. Between the powers or weapons being used, each character has their own distinct personality and role. Even with the monster-esque Evos, they all felt unique, had interesting character designs, and were given cool spotlights no matter if the role was small or ongoing. Season 2 favors a more lighthearted tone with what felt like more comedy added over Season 1. But even if some would consider some of these episodes filler, they never felt boring. Personally, I don't mind filler if the filler has some true form of entertainment value, and clearly this show had that for me. But it also added so much more to the characters, making them richer, extending out their lore, and adding the most shocking twists yet with Rex's brother, and especially the ending, with the awesome, but misunderstood, villain Breach, where Rex is teleported 6 months into the future, a future that has drastically changed from the world he was living in just moments ago. Gone are Agent 6 and Rebecca Holiday, and White Knight is allegedly no more. With a new person in charge, a mysterious woman drenched in black, named Black Knight. They really knew how to name these people.
You'll call me Black Knight.
Time to generate into the transforming Rex ride. Shoot! Save the day!
Season 3, however, gives us a lot of answers right off the bat that we were left having at the end of Season 2. Black Knight tries to manipulate what the New Providence is all about with these new collars that would control the behavior of Evos, but her efforts to earn Rex's trust fall flat as we learn about the real effects of the collars, controlling the Evos against their will. And this gets even more complicated when family matters get involved, as Caesar works for Black Knight and aids in the process of making and using these collars. This mistrust leads to Rex finding Agent 6 and Rebecca Holiday in a new counterforce operation with their own base, and White Knight is revealed to be alive and well. Hey, good for him. That's all within episode 1 of Season 3. The rest of the season goes even crazier. First with Ben 10, specifically the Ben 10 from Ultimate Alien, as he gets brought into Rex's reality for this double-length episode crossover, and it becomes such a fun team-up episode dealing with the pocket dimension prison, a rogue prototype AI, and it being my multiverse of madness. Anyway, we find out this season that Egyptian lore and mythology now play a role, as unlike Rex going 6 months into the future, that Van Kleist went all the way back to ancient Egypt. All of this ending in a really climactic battle in the 2-part finale Endgame, with these meta nanites all coming into play, and the 5th meta nanite, which is also the strongest one, residing inside of Rex. So Black Knight needs to use him in conjunction with the rest of the consortium, this group of powerful elites that are the higher-ups of Black Knight, even if it seems that she's in control at the end, to put Rex in with the other collected meta nanites now installed into the consortium's bodies. Van Kleist messed with the process though, so rather than all the power that they would have had, ends up being a 5th of what it could be. But the real side effect is that each of them are now biomechanical Evos themselves. They look awesome, and they fuse together. Okay, Voltron. The only way to stop this now seemingly invincible threat is the full biomechanical Evo, Rex's ultimate form, activated by his Omega-1 nanite. Omega Evo form, with the full robotic body that he is in complete control of, but with just one risk, losing all his memories once again. But that wasn't good enough and he loses the fight. But hey, he keeps his memories this time, so there's a plus. This all leads to a final secret about Rex's family, the meta-nanites and Rex himself. They were secretly programmed to only work and be controlled by Rex, so in a final effort, Rex absorbs the remaining meta-nanites and becomes omnipotent, a being of ultimate power, using his power to, in one burst, cure everyone in the world from the nanites, returning everyone back from their curses or appearances back into humans. Faced with a final choice of staying this all-powerful being or take out these powers for good so nothing wrong can come from it, he chooses to then permanently destroy the meta-nanites for good. And now the only Evo left in the world is Rex, who vows to continue to protect Earth. It's all pretty powerful stuff. It's a lot to take in, but wow, was this a fun ride with exciting revelations, awesome characters, and it had an ending that satisfies the journey we have taken, and even an open open door if more was to come from the series. I have a love-hate relationship with action cartoons. My true love is vibey, fun hangout, slice of life cartoons over anything, and some action cartoons feel like there is no real purpose or thought out reasonings for why the action is even happening, plus the investment work of following along the whole series. But if one is as good and as rich as Generator Rex, then the whole thing can captivate me. This show had so much to offer in terms of lore and world building. Every new concept introduced made sense for the world. The characters weren't one-dimensional, they were fleshed out to the point that even the villains felt like they believed their reasonings for what they were doing or were trying to do, rather than just being the bad guy because the show needs a bad guy. It ticked so many boxes for me from the genres I do like. The science fiction aspects were really cool and felt like a lot of time was spent crafting them, so when stuff like time dilation and time travel are brought into the show, it felt more natural and more intriguing rather than just too much all at once. But like I mentioned earlier, the show firmly ended at the end of season 3. We kind of know why this all happened, kind of don't, but it wasn't for lack of trying. There were a lot of outside cartoon items produced. First, the toys. Mattel worked on a cool line of action figures featuring Rex and his different abilities, as well as other various Evos, even larger versions of his abilities. Now, the original origins of the show came from comics, but it all came full circle once Generator Rex would appear in comic form once again within Cartoon Network Action Pack number 51, which is the network's own collaboration with DC for a series of comics that featured basically all of their intellectual properties that ran from 2006 to 2012. Also, there was some novels or books in general that were produced, but the show had an abundance of video games, mostly Flash-based games like usual. Abyssus Arena, Nanite Master, Enemy Alliance, Evo Showdown, as well as appearing in TKO as a battler character, as well as being a character in Fusion Fall. It also had a full-fledged major release video game from Activision called Generator X: Agent of Providence, released on the Nintendo DS, 3DS, and Wii, the PlayStation 3, and the Xbox 360 in November of 2011. It was your typical 3D beat-em-up, light puzzle-solving platformer. Rex did make an appearance, like with every other Cartoon Network property at the time, in OKKO Let's Be Heroes crossover Nexus special as a stoned version of himself. Oh, and if you thought that the team-up with Ben 10 was going to be his only interaction with Ben, well, do I got news for you. In 2021, Ben Gen 10, an episode of the newer iteration of Ben 10 with more cartoony looks to the whole show, featured Rex visiting Ben's world and getting into some fun shenanigans. So after almost a decade, we did get some more Generator Rex content after all. So could this be a backdoor pilot to potentially bring the series back in a new way? Guess we'll have to wait and see. I just wouldn't expect the same Generator X we had a decade ago. But for now, that's it for Generator X, one of the coolest cartoons that I feel sadly gets overshadowed, and I think it's totally worth your time to either revisit or experience all for the first time. If you have seen it though, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Would you like to see this show come back in any shape or form? Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll be back soon with another video, but until then, later.